The second part begins with a ship in the middle of the ocean. We see them pulling a massive iron coffin out of the water, smashing it open with heavy hammers. Their leader stands nearby, watching closely, waiting. And then a face emerges from inside the coffin. It's Quinn, finally freed after being trapped beneath the sea for 500 years.
The scene shifts to an island in Croatia. Niall is steering a small boat, watching a house they're planning to break into. Andy is with the rest of the squad, giving orders. She tells Joe and Nikki to sneak in and follow the plan. They launch the attack, but during the fight, Joe's finger gets cut off. Shockingly, he picks it up, presses it back into place, and it heals instantly. Gunfire breaks out as they steal 2 cars, leading the guards into a chase to clear the way for Andy and Copley. Andy and Copley move in, storming the house, but they come under fire from more guards inside. They take cover. Andy grabs a sword, swiftly cutting down 3 of them before retreating again. Copley reminds her that she's not immortal anymore, that one wrong move could mean her death. But Andy doesn't listen. She charges back with the sword, finishing off the rest of the armed men. At the same time, Niall crashes through with her boat, climbing up to the balcony. She knocks out a guard and joins Andy and Copley inside, backing them up. Together, they take out the remaining enemies, move upstairs, and finally find the arms dealer they came for. Without hesitation, they gun him down. Mission accomplished. They leave the house victorious. Later that night, they're sitting together, laughing, unwinding after the fight. Suddenly, Copley gets a call. He steps away to answer it. A little while later, Andy sits with Niall. Niall asks her what it feels like now, knowing she's no longer immortal and could actually die. Andy answers with calm honesty. She feels peace, even relief.
Copley returns with disturbing news. The arms dealer they killed wasn't the real buyer. The true arms dealer is someone else. A woman. He shows them her picture. Niall stares at it, shaken, because she's seen this woman before, in a dream. Niall explains, in her dream she saw an ancient-looking library, something straight out of the Middle Ages. A woman stepped out of the shadows, stabbed the library's owner with a dagger, then stole books and manuscripts. Niall doesn't understand what it means, but Andy reassures her. They'll figure it out. Meanwhile, in France, we see Booker, all alone after the Immortals exiled him for betraying them. His life has fallen apart. He drinks heavily. Walking into his home, he grips a gun, sensing someone inside. He's right. Quinn is waiting for him. She introduces herself, telling him she's been waiting for this moment for centuries. She wants to reach Andy. Moments later, they abduct Booker, shoving him into a car. Back with the squad, they arrive in France by ship. They agree to split up for now and regroup later, but Andy asks Copley to come with her on a personal errand. Meanwhile, Quinn interrogates Booker. She wants to know where Andy is. Booker tells her the truth. They kicked him out. He doesn't know where they are. But Quinn presses him. Did Andy ever mention her? Did she ever speak her name? Booker admits that Andy never stopped searching for her, and that it tore her apart knowing she couldn't save her. But Quinn doesn't believe him. She says she thought Andy had been trapped, just like her, but after she got out, she realized Andy had been free this whole time, and never rescued her. To Quinn, that was betrayal. Back in France, Joe walks the streets and heads toward Booker's house. But he's not alone. Nikki and Niall are already there, predicting he'd do exactly that. Niall checks upstairs. She comes back shaken. Booker isn't there, but there are bloodstains. Something happened. Meanwhile, Andy and Copley arrive at the home of an old acquaintance. Andy tells Copley to wait until she gets permission. The door opens. It's Tom, another immortal. Andy introduces herself and soon introduces Copley. They talk, and Tom reveals he has lived for over 2,000 years. He takes them into his hidden library. Niall's dream suddenly makes sense. This is the very same library she saw. Tom explains he has collected every manuscript and legend about the Immortals, but part of the collection was stolen. Niall's dream was real. The thief's name? Ricorda. She was the first immortal Tom ever met. Andy is shocked. She always thought she was the first. Tom tells them the story. Long ago, they lived in peace, before fear and division tore them apart.
He remembers watching as Quinn was sealed in the iron coffin. He wanted to intervene, but Rescorda refused. She hated the existence of other immortals, seeing them as a curse. She abandoned him. Andy realizes this was the same day Tom saved her, because she too was about to be locked inside a coffin, just like Quinn. Tom explains that afterward, he dedicated his life to knowledge, isolating himself. But Rescorda also withdrew. Only she used knowledge to gain power and control. He warns that she probably knows everything about them already, and now they are her targets. Andy grows worried. She asks if Rescorda knows she's no longer immortal. Tom is stunned. He never knew Andy lost her gift. Andy asks him to join their squad, and he agrees. When they bring him to the others, everyone is surprised Andy knew about another immortal all this time. Then they break the bad news. Booker is missing. Not long after, Joe gets a call from Booker himself. He begs them to meet. Joe and Nikki go, finding Booker desperate. He insists they must take him to Andy. They bring him back, where he delivers the shock. Quinn is free. Andy is speechless, struggling to believe it. Booker hands her a letter Quinn gave him. Andy opens it. The words are written in an ancient tongue. In it, Quinn said she has returned from the sea, only to discover Andy lived freely while she endured centuries of torment in the coffin. For 500 years, she waited for Andy to keep her promise, to come save her, but Andy never came. To Quinn, that was betrayal. After reading the letter, Andy makes a decision. She has to go. Niall chases after her, refusing to let her go alone. She joins Andy in the car. The next day, they arrive in Rome. Andy walks alone, while Niall follows from a distance, ready to step in if anything goes wrong. Finally, Andy sees her, Quinn. After 500 years, the two women stand face to face again. Andy is overwhelmed, at a loss for words. She feels crushing guilt. She was supposed to save her, but she didn't. Quinn's eyes burn with pain and fury. She tells Andy she'll never understand the torment of 5 centuries locked in an iron coffin. Andy tries to apologize, telling her she never stopped searching. But Quinn doesn't care. The only thing she feels now is betrayal. After that, they sit together, but Quinn still can't forgive Andy. She asks her, "How could you live all these years knowing I was trapped?" Andy replies that she built a team of immortals, fighting through history to protect humanity and bring good into the world. She invites Quinn to join them. But Quinn, broken by 5 centuries of torture inside that iron coffin, tells her that all she feels now is anger and a burning desire for revenge against humanity itself. Quinn stands up and walks away. Andy quickly follows, trying to stop her, only to be shocked when Quinn challenges her to fight. Andy doesn't want to, but Quinn keeps attacking, forcing Andy to defend herself. The battle is dangerous because Andy is no longer immortal. If she dies this time, she's gone forever. They clash fiercely until Niall rushes in, trying to break the fight apart. At that moment, they suddenly see Rescorda standing behind them. Rescorda slips away, and Niall runs after her. Andy realizes the truth. Rescorda was the one who freed Quinn from the coffin, and now they are allied. Quinn escapes. Andy chases, but loses her trail. Meanwhile, Niall follows Rescorda into an old church. Inside, Rescorda confronts her, asking, "Why do you follow a monster like Andy?" Niall defends her team, saying they fight to help people, but Rescorda insists Niall knows nothing about Andy's true past, that one day she will learn the truth. Then she makes Niall an offer. "You and I are the first and the last. Together we can end the immortals once and for all, and save the world from their curse." To prove her words, Rescorda shows Niall a mark on her left arm, an identical symbol that Niall also bears. She promises, "You'll understand soon. We'll meet again." Then she vanishes, leaving Niall shaken and confused. Back with Andy, she lies wounded from her fight with Quinn. At the same time, Booker visits Thom. Thom shares his fears about Niall, asking if she ever fought Andy before. Booker recalls their very first meeting when Niall wounded Andy in battle. That's when Thom explains the ancient prophecy. The last immortal has the power to strip another of their immortality if they wound them in combat.
Booker suddenly realizes it was Niall's blow that caused Andy to lose her immortality. Tom adds, if someone loses their gift, they can choose another to inherit it. Booker becomes obsessed with the idea. To him, immortality is a curse, and death is the release he's always wanted. Later, Booker visits Andy. He tells her she's lucky to finally live like everyone else, fragile but free. He doesn't reveal the prophecy, but keeps it inside.
Meanwhile, Rescorda meets with Quinn again, reminding her, I freed you from the coffin. I gave you back your life. Quinn swears she won't stop until Andy suffers. Not just her, but her whole team, condemned like she was for 500 years. Rescorda offers her a deal. Join me, and I'll make it happen. Quinn accepts.
The story shifts to Indonesia. Inside a fortified nuclear facility, a car crashes through the gates. Quinn steps out, shot dead by guards. But moments later, she rises again, terrifying them. She grabs their commander and orders the guards to drop their weapons or die. With Resguard's forces, they seize control of the facility. Back with Niall, she's training with swords when Booker challenges her to a sparring match. Tom joins them, turning it into a three-way duel. During the fight, Niall accidentally wounds Booker, but this time his injury doesn't heal. Tom realizes Booker has lost his immortality. His time is almost up. Tom urges him to secretly transfer the gift to Andy when the chance comes.
Soon after, Copley gathers the team, showing them surveillance footage. Rescorda and Quinn have taken the nuclear plant and planted a bomb inside the reactor. If it explodes, millions will die from radiation. Niall warns it's a trap, but Andy says they have no choice. They must go.
Inside the facility, the Immortals fight Rescorda's men, hand to hand, knowing gunfire could trigger the reactor. One by one, they take down the guards with brutal skill. Joe, Nikki, and Tom push toward the control room, while Andy is hit with electric shocks but manages to fight through. Suddenly, the control room locks, flooding with gas. The Immortals are captured, sealed in reinforced bags designed to hold them even after revival. Andy tries to reach them over comms. No response. Guards surround her, but Booker saves her.
In that moment, Booker transfers his immortality to Andy. She doesn't realize it until he shows her his wound, still bleeding. Andy is shocked as Booker smiles, finally free. He tells her it's his chance to die and walks into battle, locking Andy behind him. She watches helplessly as Booker is cut down, dying at last.
Meanwhile, Niall confronts Quinn, who offers her an alliance with Rescorda. Niall refuses, loyal to her team. Quinn attacks with her sword, but as Niall strikes back, Quinn realizes her wounds aren't healing. She has lost her immortality too. Suddenly, Rescorda arrives and drives a spear into Niall, capturing her alive along with the others.
Andy discovers Quinn inside the reactor chamber, holding the detonator, but Quinn hesitates. Killing millions won't bring her justice. Finally, she drops the trigger. Before Andy can breathe, helicopters appear. Rescorda's men are airlifting the captured Immortals.
Andy leaps onto a chopper, fighting Rescorda mid-air. They crash, weapons drawn, battling fiercely. To Andy's surprise, Rescorda's wounds don't heal either. She too has lost her gift. Rescorda screams that only Niall, the last immortal, can restore her power. She has taken Andy's team hostage to force Niall into the ritual. The fight ends with Andy wounded and Rescorda escaping by helicopter. Andy is left alone, but not defeated. She returns to Tom's library, studying the prophecy, determined to learn everything about it. Quinn, no longer immortal herself, joins Andy once more. Despite their pain, they prepare to face Rescorda together, like they once did in the Middle Ages, side by side in battle. And that's where Part 2 ends.